Hello and welcome back for our VOD review. We let Twitch chat decide and we started with the Gladiators / Sadiators versus the Paris Eternal. I feel for you Gladiators fans. Don't worry, we're here for you. Here's a place that we can be comfortable together and mourn together and understand where it all went wrong. Gladiators obviously had a phenomenal first half of this series with just playing their style. They've leaned very heavily into this Winston Ana way of playing the game, with Birdring playing that Sombra and then Mira or Kevster playing like that Genji Doomfist. Very fast tempo style that is built around ultimates. Has a lot of value on certain times and they make it work. Until it doesn't. I think Paris Eternal have a great second half of this series and complete the reverse sweep. Playing a very defensive Torb type style where they're just sort of playing around and counter diving the way that Gladiators are trying to play. The biggest issue that I have for Gladiators, and I'm going to try and confirm this in this VOD review, is Gladiators just needed to adapt in some way. Just change something so that it would work out for them in the long term. They got heavily stuck on like second and third points where they're kind of stuck in a choke and they can't make those effective dives or get value out of the Sombra or the Genji. So watch out as it goes on. This is going to be an exciting one, so let's keep going. Alright, so Paris, I don't believe, played any Winston in this series. Am I correct about that, or am I like misremembering? I'm pretty sure they played heavily the Reinhardt and the Orisa on Anubis. Oh, that's true. On the second point defense, they actually do play the Orisa, the Winston. You're right. They played it a little bit on their second point defense, I believe. So we'll catch that as we go. But they are leaning very heavily into the brawl style. That is something that they've always been strong at. It's the European way. But yeah, they're very heavily playing the counter dive against Muse for the most part. They played it the whole map? Really? I thought on their attack they played slow style. We'll go have a look at that. We'll have a look at that. As I said, that shows. Oh, don't play in traffic. Muse goes down again. First, and this is going to be a constant theme as well, right? I think Muse, it's not even really Muse's fault. I think it's Muse's job to go aggressive, right? He needs to be the front line and he needs to be going fast. A question a lot of people raised, and I completely agree with this, is it's weird to see the Gladiators play such a small amount of Tracer. For Tracer being back in the meta, they really wanted to play this like Sombra Doom or Sombra Genji, which is, they can be highly effective, both Genji and the Doomfist Sombra in the same boat as well, where they can be very effective with their hacks, with their ability usages, and with their ultimates, but outside of that, they don't get anywhere near as much value as like a Tracer, right? Tracer just does so much work. Mira gets a great punch onto Naga to open this one up. And this is just like, I actually remember this. Let's go back and watch this from Mira's perspective. Mira does a phenomenal job on the Doomfist, sort of showing where the value of the Doomfist can come. Like, if you can get these opening punches, it gets so hard for you to overcome this. Mira's Doom wasn't us, and I agree. Like, I don't actually think Mira played a bad game at all. I think Mira actually played really well. He did his job, I think, on the Doomfist and the roles he was required to play. So I was very confused by the person who came in and said that like Mira shouldn't be in the Overwatch League and he thinks the only reason he's on the Gladiators is because he's friends with DP. I don't agree with that at all. I think Mira is a great specialist for this team, and I think it's just Mira is like the San Francisco Shock argument, right? Where I think a lot of people are just looking for someone to blame and a scapegoat, and I think Mira is an easy blame of that. And here we see the first adjustment from the Paris Eternal. They head over to the Torb, and they play a lot of this Torb throughout this series. Just slowing the style down. Done? We'll move past that one. Well, it could have been sick. I don't know. Was he supposed to like hit one of the trees? I assume he pinned with the idea that he was going to hit one of these trees. And then he just fucking split the middle. And then he's just like, ah, shit. Warming up still. Exactly. Mirror's doing pretty well on this Doomfist though, just cleaning up the backline in this room. I really like the move from Khan as well. I think this is a pretty obvious and common switch. Baptiste is so bad against Doomfist, just because you can get punched and one shot, you can get uppercut out of your lamp. There's not really a whole lot you can do against the Doomfist, while the Moira has the fade. So I like the Moira switch as well for Khan. The Sideshow tweet cursed the Glads? Yeah, to a degree. I think the Glads cursed the Glads. I think the Glads have been cursed since 2018. With the Sadiators curse. Moon Boots versus Doom is good as well. Yeah, absolutely. Like, consistently jumping. The problem with using the Moon Boots is it gives you a predictable movement, because you're going to have to hit the ground eventually. So you don't want to use it too much, but it can definitely be valuable. Birdring has the EMP here, setting up for this next one. Looking for a really good hack. Unfortunately, doesn't get anything, and this can be a pretty big problem for the Paris Eternal, for the Gladiators. You see Drijo react immediately. He sees Birdring go back, and they just beat engage, because otherwise that gives them that edge. Forces the EMP out of Birdring, because Birdring's like, oh, they've used the beat, I need to use the EMP. And he kind of almost forces it here, right? Forces the EMP. It does get off a lot of the shields, but it's probably not as effective as they probably wanted it to be. And this actually gives Paris a good window to like enter into this fight. And that's just great play by the Paris Eternal, right? Like, they play slow, force out the Sombra, force the Sombra recall. As soon as that recall goes off, they go aggressive, force the EMP out, and then they keep going aggressive with their style, right? Like, a lot of people like blaming Gladiators for this loss, but that's just a great play. Like, that's straight up great teamwork, smart play from the Paris Eternal. Vestola is really good for the Paris team. I think Vestola and Drijo have both done phenomenally coming into this league right now. Like, relatively unknown players to like the world, obviously not EU contenders, but they've really stepped up and taking it to some of the best we have in the business. So once again, Paris playing aggressive, not really allowing Gladiators to get their tempo, but a great punch by Mira, right? Finds the off angle, gets the punch and the punish onto this Brawl Style. And that should be pretty much a free cap for the Gladiators right here.
Into the ass.
I heard you saw me pin of the map. No, you did not see a thing.
Don, if that is you, no, we didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll cut it out. I'll cut it out of the VOD review. I'll cut it out. Don't worry. I got you covered, man. We'll call it even for the the great call at the end to go Farah. Nothing but cakes as well. Thank you very much for the 34 months. Heart, thank you very much. Gladiators do a good job of consolidating onto the point. They just need to not overextend at this point, right? You got the Doomfist, you got the Monkey Primal and everyone off. Down going for the Hail Mary Shatter at the end, as you have to, as is tradition as a Reinhardt player. Is it actually him? It might be. Don's messaged me before saying that he likes my reviews, so I think he's around.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
JT, thank you very much for the 3-year resub as well. Congrats on putting a ring on it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was awesome. So this is such a hard fight for the Paris Eternal, and this is actually a really good map for the Doomfist as well, right? Just because if you can get this control, you can see how effective it can be. Mira gets this positioning with the Doomfist, and just Don gets like 9-man pushed off. Like look at how many times the Reinhardt gets pushed here. He gets punched, uppercut, then booped by space. Like, he has like a 50% boop reduction or some shit and still gets pushed off the map. There it is. So a great first fight for the Gladiators. Don is totally not having a good time. Alright, so now the Paris Eternal, we see switches to the McCree and the May. What were they on before this? They were playing Reaper Sim. Reaper Sim's very common for the first fight. I really like Reaper and the longevity of holding this point, right? Even if you get the control, I don't love the Reaper. I'd prefer to see like a McCree May just off the bat. But then I guess you'd want to go McCree Symmetra. Symmetra May, something like that. So, but I think the McCree May is the right swap here. I just think it's going to be really hard for them to get control. Like, how do they isolate Muse with a wall against a Sim Doomfist? Like, they're going to have to walk in at some point and they're just going to get punched in the face. Oh, Mira gets absolutely punished. Isn't Reaper, like, bad? No, Reaper's very good right now. What? I don't know why Mira goes. Like, what does he not realize that they're... Maybe he doesn't realize they're on this side. He gets low. I don't really know what happens here. Oh, he fucks up. That was just a straight up feed. I don't think he meant to do this. Reaper just got a... Yeah, you got a 5% lifesteal buff. Boom! Thank you very much for 2 months sub. Yeah, that... There's no defending that. I think he thought about punching the Baptiste and then he just ended up out the window and just absolutely fed. Well, that's one way to get into it if you're the Paris Eternal. Pretty good stall by the Gladiators, but that should be it. Space gets out. Okay, real questions. Because I actually don't know the answer to this, even in a time. I remember talking about it, like, way back when, but how does Maywall interact with Symmetra teleporters? Does anybody actually know? Because there's instances where it can end up on top of the wall, but there are instances where you can block it with the wall. Like, because I think if you're setting it, you can put it on top of a Maywall and then it will fall. But can't you break it if you drop the Maywall as it's deploying? If you build a wall on top of a teleporter, it breaks it, right? But if it's fully set up and you put a wall on top of it, does it break it? Or it, like when the cement, like if, so let me put it this way, right? So if Naga dropped his Maywall directly on top of this teleporter right now, what would happen to it? Does it just get blocked? Or does it break? It definitely doesn't get raised. I know it doesn't get raised. Yeah, the only way you can get a TP on top of the Maywall is if you build it on top of the Maywall. Blocked. But I think I'm right as well as if it's deploying, if it's being deployed and then you drop a Maywall on it, I think it breaks. I don't know if that's an interaction that changed. But yeah. Mythbusters time. Maybe we'll break this down in another situation. But yeah, I remember someone asked me this question. I think Sully asked me this question and I couldn't give her a definitive answer. No, Sideshow asked me the question. He was asking whether, like, what the interaction is with Maywalls with Symmetra teleporters. Schrodinger's Maywall, yeah. What happens if you come through at the end? I think it just pushes you out of it, the wall. I really like this walk up by Muse. This, like look at how poorly executed this is for the Gladiators. Unless this is their plan. No, like they just walked into a Maywall. And like the Reinhardt, like Muse just got dropped on. And then the wall was great. Like I feel like this was just Muse going way too aggressive and like isolating himself too much. Oh, great shadow by Dawn. Put a finishing touch. Like that literally cost Paris like nothing. Like the amplification matrix and the shadow, like you take those 100%. I think it was on Shu. No, but like you say that's on Shu, like Shu was late, but Shu was rotating this way. Like why, if Muse is gonna rotate this way, that needs to be coordinated, right? Like you can't just have, like you can't blame Shu because he's rotating the same way as everyone else. Why is Muse rotating this way? If they wanted to like try and, the only thing I can think of is Muse came in this way to try and bait the wall and then they all meet up over here, right? But Paris just didn't drop the wall on Muse and then they just put it over here. So maybe that threw a wrench in their plan, but it felt very weird. Why didn't Mott drop the beat there? Because by the time that he could have dropped the beat, Muse was already dead. See, like, this makes a little bit more sense, right? They all go together. The sim wall goes down. Oh, good beat by Moth. They get Khan. Mirror gets Khan. Great play by them. Space gets the hit on the Naga. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, he had no Matrix as well. I think that might have been a little greedy by Naga. Maybe he didn't see Space there, but yes, that's a great eat by Space because he had nothing in the tank. Literally had like a millisecond worth of Matrix and still manages to get it. Hydration Twitter. Oh, we'll look at it after this VOD review. We'll look at it after the VOD review. Unless it says something like super dramatic. God, Space is so handsome and talented. Alright, so they got the Sim TP up here. How the Parasitona gonna engage on this one? So that cost Gladiators a lot of ultimates in turn. Oh, actually it didn't really. It was just two big ultimates with their beat in the wall. So that was actually a really good fight for the Gladiators. It's gonna be hard for the Parasitona to like get into, right? Mirror just needs to stay alive. Like literally he doesn't need to do too much. He should just be baiting his team a lot more. Yeah, and then he goes in, gets the punch. And that's sort of the way Mirror needs to play this Doomfist, right? Is just force, like, wait until they engage on Muse and then punch from the side. And that's what he's been doing most of the time quite well. Is Glad's bad now? No. And let's talk about that, because that seems to be a misconception that a lot of people like, Gladiators lost to a Parasitona by getting reverse swept. Gladiators are bad. It's like, no. Gladiators also just beat Shock and they've been playing really well. They're not one of the best teams we have in the region. They're probably like, I would say they're like top 5. But just because they lose one game to Parasitona in a reverse sweep doesn't mean they're a bad team. They haven't lived up to all the expectation and hype that we wanted, but they're still quite solid. They're still, yeah, they're 7-3. They're chilling right now. I feel like a lot of people are very doom and gloom about the Gladiators right now, when really it's fine. Obviously it hasn't been a perfect season for them, but they're doing all right. They're doing all right. And a lot of people aren't giving Paris enough credit for playing incredibly well. Like, Paris really did play well. They played their style. They found a way of like how to beat what Gladiators were doing, and they just ran with it. And then the Gladiators failed to adapt. That was ambitious by Muse. How do they get Onigod this early? Did they not see the Sim TP? They saw the Sim TP, but it just... They didn't really deal with it effectively enough, and that gets Onigod killed. So as much as Dan wins the frontline duel against Muse, oh my god, how does Shu die as well? How are they gonna lose this? Oh, Shu just got caught in fucking no man's land right there. Space gets Vostola, Space gets Khan. Space is just running around in Baby Diva form. Yeah, I think Mirror's just gonna clean this up. That was a pretty good attempt by Paris to turn it around, but yeah, that was a great heads-up play with the TP. Just like rush the backline. I don't think that was a bad play by Paris. Maybe there's a reason that you don't go through that room just for that reason. But I guess they needed to try and do something else, because every time they tried to go through the main entrance, Mirror's just getting TP'd into the window, and it's just impossible for the backline to win. So not bad, not bad. I think this is where we're like, holy shit, you know, Citro's typing out his tweet. Oh my god, Gladiators are the best team in the Summer Showdown. This is crazy. I can't believe how good the Gladiators are playing. This is so sick for them. And then it just slowly starts going down from here. So let's watch Eichenwalde, and this is ready for battle. It's interesting because we see Mirror and Kevster coming in, and that's not really a combo that we would usually expect. But it's fine. But I think this is like one of those things that we look at and they make it work and we're like, oh, I guess it works. But then when it doesn't work later, we're like, ugh, this doesn't look good at all. So let's see it be successful here on Eichenwalde and like really start to see where the idea that Gladiators is trying to execute, right? And then we can talk about it later when it doesn't work as much. They bench Birdering. Why? I don't think they like Sombra on this map. And I can sort of see why you don't like Sombra on this map. I think it can be very hard to get good cycles and get good EMPs. I don't know about keeping Mirror in to play the Doomfist, though. I don't think this is a particularly great Doomfist map. So we'll see what Mirror can do on this Doomfist. Birdering is a hit scan, though. Yeah, he's the hit scan player, but he also plays Tracer. But I think Kevsta's kind of their Tracer player these days. So they're going in first. I think this is kind of early. Right? Like, you see what I mean? Look at how early they go. So Dan steps up, he uses his pull, he uses his shield. The backline hasn't really fully committed yet, right? Like, Khan's in the room. Maybe they see Khan and they think that is go time. But Khan and Dreedra are pretty protected here. Dan is like and Vestola are here close enough to their team. Like, nothing about this really screams like, hey, we need to go. They're not under any pressure. They're not taking any damage really. Like, but they decide to force it. And this is where it goes wrong, right? Like, Mirror goes in, they have all of their cooldowns. Mirror doesn't get a good engagement. He has to engage on the Orisa. He gets punished. We're going to see Muse just get pressured out here and get punished as well. I just think that might have been a little rushed from the Gladiators, and that cost them the first point. Fat Fire Funk, thank you very much for the 5 months. Hey, Custa, thanks for all the great stuff you do, bro. And congrats on the engagement. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you for the 5 months. Do you think Jimmy has improved? I think he had a good match. Or a map on Gibraltar. But we're going to watch that later in the week. No Jimmy talk just yet. People talk all the time about how good Naga has been this year, but why aren't people talking about how good Onigod has been this year? I think a lot of us had higher expectations for Onigod, so we all know Onigod was going to be good. Naga was a lot more of a question mark, but I also think Naga has been just like, he's had a lot of very high impact moments, but I think Onigod also played phenomenally this series, and you're probably right. We should talk more about Onigod. So Mira's gonna switch over to the Echo, right? So now they're playing these Echo Genji style, which you can understand where this like becomes a problem, because Echo Genji essentially fulfill the same role in a little bit of a way. I don't think they have... Here's what I don't like about this, right? And where the Tracer or the Sombra adds that extra element is it provides a different element of distraction, right? Like a Tracer or Sombra is like lives in your backline or creates a lot of pressure and adds a lot of space to your team. I feel like both Genji and Echo want a ton of space, right? They need space given to them. So they're kind of heavily relying on Muse to be the one to be able to give them that space. Maybe the Gladiators are expecting the Torb from the Paris Eternal, and that's why they don't want to play the Tracer Sombra. And why they're leaning more into the Mirror Kevsta. They know that the Torb is going to exist. They want to have things that aren't going to be countered by the Torb. So there's the Nano Blade. This should just win them the fight. If you're going to play Genji at the Overwatch League level, you need to get value out of every single Nano Blade. If you're going to get 2 ultimates, you need to win team fights. So now the Gladiator is going to go into the spawn camp style of playing. I feel like Genji doesn't fare so well against Torb. Genji's okay against Torb. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. Luigi Slide, thank you very much for the 5 months as well. This is a great heads up play by the Gladiators, playing aggressive with their ultimates. They pop the rally, they trade the ultimates, right? That was both Amplification Matrix and Rally from the Eternal. So they don't have that defensive ultimate to get out. It also, you know, Gladiators did trade, but they just they're just stalling time, winning team fights to get Kevsta the Nano Blade back up, so then they can win a team fight using that. So it's going to be hard for Paris Eternal to get out with the composition that they have, because it's just so slow, right? They want to play counter divey, but you can't counter dive your own spawn. So they can't even get out of the spawn doors, and that's what they're doing so well. That's an enormous nade by Khan, and Khan is the unsung hero of this team as well. Like, Khan is so fucking good on this flex support. Hits a massive nade, and this nade actually gives them a lot of space and really enables Naga to get a lot of value out of this this copy. Good flux by Vestor, but that was an expensive... It's expensive to get out of spawn. That cost them Echo, Sigma, and Torb ultimate. I think Muse probably could have kept that primal at this point. I think you just accept that you're going to lose this fight. But they even used the copy as well, right? So I think using the primal, using the copy, I think might have been unnecessary. Like, let's go back and see where we were when they decided to use these ultimates. So they lost the brig. I guess it's a 5v5. I think they can probably keep the spawn camp going if they use ultimate. So Mira uses the copy, and then Muse. It's not that bad. Like, they pop both those ult and then Shu dies. So I think that was like kind of bad timing. Wasn't as bad as you would think, because they definitely could have kept this spawn camp going if Shu stayed alive. And now they have the Nanoblade online, right? So this is what I said right before, where they just need to get to another Nanoblade and then they can win the next fight with the Nanoblade. I can see Dallas playing this Glads comp. I agree, but here's the problem. I don't think it's a great comp. I don't think Echo Genji is a really good comp. I think it really struggles in the neutral where no ultimates are really being used. I think Tracer can just be way too effective. And we've seen other teams just show that time and time again. Maybe this is a good comp against this bunker style that Eternal are playing and a lot of these other teams are playing with the Torb, with the McCree, where they're playing incredibly slow because Tracer struggles, right? What does Tracer do against the Paris Eternal comp right here? Especially when they had a Torb, it's like you just have no space. You have negative space to really play around and you can't really kill a lot of things. You can make it work, but I think it's swimming upstream, if you know what I mean. So we got another Nanoblade coming out from Custa. Actually, this is a really interesting play because I remember seeing this live. So they want to go with the blade, but this is like I don't know what the fuck Onigod is doing here or how he got here. But they go with the blade, and then Shu tries to deal with that, gets really low from Onigod, and then Kevster goes during that time and can't get the nano. Kevster still gets not great value from it, and here's where the composition for the Gladiators falls short. Not just on Eichenwalde on this defense here, but we see it way more in the next couple of maps. If they don't win the team fights with their big ultimates, they don't win with the blade, they don't win with the EMP, their comp kind of gets bopped, right? You're very heavily investing into winning this neutral game. And now they're using a lot of ultimates to try and sort of like hold this space. Space uses the Diva Bomb. And they go. They put the nano onto Mira because they still had it after not using the Nano Blade. And Gladiators do eventually hold on this second point. The biggest issue that Paris Eternal have going into like further into this point is that they want to play the counter dive slow out, and that actually works really well in the front half of this second point. They can play this front half and they can play counter dive, right? Like they can hide in here, their backline they can hide in here, and they can play somewhat slow. But once they get to the second point, they really need to get into this room, and this is what they just tried to do but couldn't. They need to have a defensible place to stay. Gladiators do a phenomenal job of getting control of the high ground and then giving themselves the world's freest dive, and it makes it really hard for Paris Eternal to stay alive. So it's going to be very hard for Paris to continually move forward here. Why not Nano Muse? I think you probably should have Nano Muse. But we've seen Nano Echo work, and it worked there, so if it works, you can't really hate on it. Done. Oh my god, Shu hits an enormous nade. 4K, four-person bio nade. Dan goes over to the Wrecking Ball, and I think this is Dan recognizing what I just said, right? Of it's going to be really hard for them to get any space because they're going to have to play so slow with the counter dive that I think he goes Wrecking Ball and just applies pressure, right? Like applies pressure to the point, just consistently force them to look backwards, force them to not just be all looking forward, just create pressure in some different angle. I don't think he's going to get a lot of effectiveness, but hopefully when he takes the aggro, the rest of his team can take that space.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Lemon, thank you very much for the 10 months. High Noon coming out from Onigod. I think we've all seen this many a times, but let's have a look at it. Bonk. Oof. Onigod gets reflected. Kevster gets him. Onigod should know better. But unfortunately gets caught. Copy from Naga gets Muse. I think the bubble breaks? How does Muse get caught by this? Oh, I think Muse would have been fine if he didn't jump. I think he jumped that last second and he jumped out away from his bubble. So, Paris have got their foot in the door. They just don't have a lot of ultimates. They actually go towards a very heavy dive style of playing, actually. They kind of... Paris have actually slowly been making these switches now, especially they're on the Tracer and the Echo. They're actually kind of in the Brig. They're actually playing, they're kind of playing the Eastern region compositions, right? With like the Brig Anna. They usually play Zen, but they're kind of playing the Wrecking Ball Brig Anna. And I actually don't mind this composition here. I think this is a really good smart swap halfway through the round, right? Good adaptation from Paris Eternal, recognizing that their Soul Style wasn't going to work on the second point. Slowly switch their heroes to something that it will be viable. So, are they going to cap this point though? I don't remember if they get this cap. I don't like this Nano Brig. Was this intentional? I hope this wasn't intentional. Oh yeah, I don't know if that was intentional, but if it was, I don't like that call at all. Like I think they needed the damage. I would have much preferred to see that go on that Tracer or Echo. I think the Echo's coming back from spawn though. But if he could have gotten that on the Tracer, I think that would have been way more effective. Dreedro does get the rally because of it. Space Diva Bomb. It gets Khan. Oh god, how does that catch Khan? Oh, Khan ended up on the point. I didn't see him move out. Oh, he almost made it behind the point. Just not enough. And I think this gets really hard for the Paris Eternal to now cap, right? Mines go out. They get the Nano. Too many ultimates. Just a couple of things going wrong there, I think for Paris. Not getting that Nano onto a very good target. Naga dying before that, and then Khan getting caught by the bomb. As I said, I like the switches. They gave themselves the best opportunity to win, but just not enough. This is notoriously a very hard point to push. Naga, Pelican, and Shy have been the front runners for best Echo players, IMO. I feel like you're ignoring like some of like the obvious ones, like Fleta, like Sparkle. Like I feel like you need to give those guys more credit. Even Doha to a degree, right? Leave, oh actually we just completely breezed over Leave. Leave actually might be the best. I actually think Leave might be the best Echo that we have. If I was putting a name out there, I would say it's Leave. Dante's also been really good. Dante's also been really good. The disrespect on Leave, yeah, that is disrespectful. Prophet has been quite good, yeah. There's a lot of great Echoes. Like, I think it's impossible. No, I'm not saying it's impossible. I think it's hard to like isolate 1 or 3 of the best. There's a bunch of Echo players that fuck in the league, and I think we've highlighted and found them all. So here we go. Paris playing the Tourbillon style, the heavy bunker now, right? They even have Dreedro playing the Mercy. I don't know if I like this, especially knowing you're going up against the Genji. Maybe I would prefer to see them stick with the Brig Anna or like the Brig Bap. Because do they really need the Mercy for Naga? Like, I don't really think so. I think I would prefer to see Dreedro stay on this Brig and really isolate Muse and Kevster, make it harder for them to play the game. Oh, Kevster dies. Deflects damage into a shield. Actually, look at this. I don't think I've ever really seen many Genjis kill themselves. But I think he deflects the damage into a shield and kills himself. It's kind of interesting. Sag, an actual Sag. Oh, Clone Wars, I just saw your show cats. Let me get that for you. Aya has decided that this is her bed now, by the way. Bo no longer sleeps here. Oh, let me reduce the size of this. Alright, let me go back a little bit. Alright, how does Muse get this dive effectively? So they got the nano now, they're going to engage with Muse with the nano, and Paris needs to be ready for this, right? I feel like they've given way too much space to Muse, right? Like, look at how far he gets and how much damage he's done before needing to use any resources, right? He still has his jump, he still has his bubble, so that, like, gives him so much freedom to play aggressive. What is happening? Yo, what's up, Tasmo? How you doing? Bit late, but congrats. Yo, thank you very much, Tasmo. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. Also enjoying all this content. Hey, I'm glad you've been enjoying it, man. We gotta catch up sometime. When live events open up and I can see you again. Yeah, and I think this just goes back to Muse just getting too much value out of this, over this Nano Winston. Switzerland beat France? Wait, really? You did say you wanted to hit me with a Ryan Hammer. An inflatable Ryan Hammer, though, Tasmo. I wanted to hit you with an inflatable Ryan Hammer. Just for old time's sake, you know?
Objective loss.
You did win that way too convincingly as well. I can't believe France lost in... Oh, God. So he's gonna be over the moon. The French are gonna be pissed. It was a crazy game. Check Zoe's Twitter. I've seen she's been tweeting about it. Onigo gets a great pick on the Kevster. That should essentially shut down this push from the Gladiators. Let's try and stay focused. We just had a lot of things come in. Oh, Muse does not... What do you guys think of Muse? Because Muse had a lot of hype coming into this season. Like, I don't think he's played that well. Like, he's been fine. Like, I think he's been a solid middle of the pack, but I don't... It's just, yeah, as you guys said, okay, meh. It's okay, he's fine. But he hasn't, like, you know, we watch Fearless play, we watch Fate play, we watch Smurf play on these Winstons, and they seem to get these crazy values. But then, like, let's look at Muse's, like, juggle here, right? Like, it doesn't feel anywhere near as clean. It doesn't feel as polished as some of these other Winstons. Like, I do like that Muse can play the Reinhardt, he can play some of these other things, but definitely hasn't really lived up to that hype that I think he had coming into him. So hopefully we can see more from him moving further into the season. I wouldn't say he's a feeder. I wouldn't go that far, Lilo. I would say overrated coming into the season. But maybe he can start hitting his stride and he can start, you know, being more comfortable in the league. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think he's a feeder. Same with Mag. Mag is much better. I think Mag has had a couple more highlights, and I think, yeah, I don't think Mag. I think Mag has been better than Muse. Mag's had some pretty crazy stat games. He's a rookie. He's a rookie. As I said, I think anyone would take Muse in a heartbeat for their team. Like, I don't think Muse is a big problem. It's just disappointing, right? Like, we had a lot of high expectations. We were hoping he would be that, like, main tank that would lead Gladiators forward. He just hasn't really lived up to that yet, so. Oh, good lamp by Khan. It's gonna die instantly, though. Yeah. Onigo gets Shu, though, with a really good flank. Naga gets a great copy in the backline there to live through it. Kevster gets the stick. Also, something that we haven't really talked about because we've all been stuck in Sadiator mode. Kevster fucks on low ping. Like, I think we can all agree none of this was Kevster's fault. Kevster is actually living up to the promised land that we were expecting from him. Like, he was ridiculous. Who was their first match against? He, against the Shock, right? He pounded against the Shock. That Volskaya match where I linked the stats. What were the stats? Let me go back to my Twitter and go to my tweet. Look at these stats. This was on Volskaya. He went 36 eliminations, 23 final blows, and 1 death. Kevster Tracer fucks. Kevster in general fucks. I definitely think Gladiators need to lean more into this. For sure. Actually illegal. It should be illegal. So, he shut down Arns and Glister, yeah. So, on that note as well, I think Arns hard struggled in his opening weekend as well. So, I'm hoping for bigger things from Arns because I don't think we didn't see the Arns that we knew and loved, right? And that's probably because, you know, he hasn't been putting as much time into Overwatch. He's probably needs to shake that rust off. He's still mechanically insane, but he definitely has a long way to go to get back to his original form. So, is Kevster flexible? Kevster is very flexible. Oni Kevster dude was fun to watch on Envy. Yeah, that was like, it's kind of crazy going back to look at like that old Envy team, right? Wasn't that the one that Trill played on as well? Like the one where like Envy was like the best. It was like OG Trill, Oni God Kevster.
Hi. Hey there. Hi.
Or were they after Trill? I can't remember exactly the iterations. Salieri, yeah, it was pretty. Kevster's like the Western Fletter or Prophet. Yeah, Kevster is very, very flexible. So you don't have to worry about that. I think as much as people are like, why would you ever bench Birdering? I don't think Kevster should ever be benched for the Gladiators. I think they should play Birdering Kevster a lot of the time, and Mira should come in as a specialist. Like, that's how I think they should play this game. It is kind of weird to see Mira in this match, in this map. Like, I was expecting him to be the specialist. Maybe they want him to be the Echo player and Kevster to play the Tracer. Or like when Kevster's playing the Genji, Mira plays something. So, I don't know. Like, it's like Mira was in to play the Doomfist, but he only played Doomfist on first point defense where they instantly lost it, right? So it's like, is that worth it to bench Birdering for? It's kind of interesting, right? And as much as it doesn't punish him on this map, as we go further into these series, it'll get worse. Also, let's watch this from Space perspective. He has Diva Bomb. They got 3 minutes. This is a great fight for the Gladiators, right? Everything should go well for them. He gets pulled. He gets booped. 1 second on the fly. Oh, God. Absolutely brutal. Great play by Dredro. Another great play by Dredro. Kevster fucking on Naga, though. Let's watch this from Kevster Pop. Let's see what Kevster does. Disgusting. Gets the flash out from the Oni God. Is he gonna push it? No, smart play to not. You don't need to run down Oni God there. Play with your team. Oni God's gonna be more afraid of you than you are of him. Oni God had to rotate all the way around. He's got flashbang. He threw the flash. Oh, he lost the pulse bomb there. I don't know why Kevster threw that one. Yeah, it was over. I think Shu lost the nano as well here, if I'm remembering correctly. Did he nano at the very last second there? Is that what I'm seeing? Oh no, he's already used it. Who did he nano? Oh, that's all right. He lost on skew. I don't agree with that nano regardless. But yeah, I don't think that nano on the brig was gonna be the difference maker for them. But honestly, all of that started when Space got knocked off at the start of the round. They needed that Diva Bomb to control the Space. Like, Space could have played so aggressive and really stuffed them into that room. So great play by Dredro. Genji, like, I don't know if I agree with the Genji. Like, I feel like Kevster was doing pretty well on the Tracer. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just a Genji hater. Like, literally all I do these days is hate on Genji. But I just don't feel like he's ever been, like, super valuable for the team. Like, really, they're gambling that they were going to win on the first Nanoblade. They only really get one Nanoblade from this, for the next 2 minutes. They're kind of gambling that Kevs is going to get value from it. Yeah, giving them that win con, I agree, but it also gives you a very narrow win con. There's the Diva Bomb, there's the Primal. I think if Paris can disengage from this effectively, they're in a really good spot. Oh, this was not a very effective disengage. The card's still going backwards though, so that's not bad. They don't have any ultimates though. Onigod goes over to the sim. Oh, I think he went way too early as well. I think the player of the sim TP was smart. Yeah, that was just a really bad fight for Paris. Gladiators being smart, using both their tank ultimates to manage to get them off. So they didn't end up needing the Genji because of great play by Muse in space, but yeah. And then I think the stagger was just brutal for Paris. Exotic, thank you very much for Prime Game Sub. Why do teams play Genji as an answer to Orisa comps? What does he bring? Dallas does this too. Nano Blades get a lot of value against those bunker compositions. So like don't get me wrong, like, you're gonna get value probably from every Nano Blade. And also, Genji can do damage, he can throw shurikens, he can have a effective dash dive. I think the better question to ask is, why is Genji good? But if it's not gonna be Genji, who else are you gonna play, right? Tracer against Brig, Ana, Orisa Diva, McCree is really hard. It's hard to get any space, any control. Then what else are you gonna play? You don't want to play a hit scan because you're playing a dive. Sombra is kind of awkward to get that space. You can make it work, but Custa doesn't really want to be in Sombra. Like, the Kree, Genji's not great, but it's not the worst, I don't think. I think there's definitely a lot of worse options you can go. Sean Man, thank you very much for the Prime Gaming subs. Thank you very much for all your Twitch Primes, guys. I appreciate it. If you guys don't know about Twitch Prime, let me sell you on Twitch Prime. Here's a third Twitch Prime coming from Grathleave. Thank you very much for 3 months. Connect your Amazon Prime account, Amazon to your Twitch account, and you get a free sub once a month. You should do it and sub to your favorite Twitch streamer. Space. You guys should sub to Space. But yeah, thank you very much for all the Prime subs. I appreciate it.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Chewy, thank you very much for the Prime sub as well. Easy sellout. Bezos is scum. Sorry, Custa. That's fair. That's fair. I agree that Bezos is scum, but Amazon's just such a good product that I can't not use it. It's just too convenient, especially in LA. I can literally get anything I ever wanted in my life in one day delivered to my door. Like, it's hard to argue with the product. Okay, but let's focus up. This is the beginning of the end for the Gladiators, or the beginning of the Sadiators. Let's see how we do. So Gladiators are playing Birdring in now. They got Kevster, Birdring, going back to this Nanoblade EMP win condition style. So the most important thing to note of this is they don't win the neutral game, right? They're literally just trying to exist, get nanos. Like, so like, think about it. They can nano Winston, they can nano Blade, they can EMP. There's so many great ultimates, especially with Rally. But they can't really take a good heads-up fight. Like, they just don't win in a straight heads-up fight unless they get a highly effective dive. I feel like Drew overextended like crazy there. I feel like Paris is just, like, Vestola and Dan just don't give a shit. Their backline is just getting murdered, and they're just like, this is fine. So I feel like there's a little bit too much of a disconnect here between Vestola, Dan, and the rest of their team. Was this game a 3-0? Oh, yeah, sure. This game was a 3-0, right? Gladiators look really good. They look really good. They're gonna 3-0. They're gonna obviously beat the Paris Eternal. I think they might be the best team in the Summer Showdown. I don't know. Like, as of right now, I think they look great. It's really gonna work out for them. I think they might win the playoffs. They're gonna end up in Hawaii for sure. So they're gonna nano Winston. So Kevsa, Shu throws out the nano onto the Winston, realizing that they probably need this to just sort of temper the aggression. Vestola gets isolated, but this is a much better job of counter diving, I think, for the Paris Eternal. If they can get another pick, they should be able to reinforce faster. That's a great pick by Naga, right? They just need to get a couple of picks so that then when they can recontest and they can get respawners faster, right? You already see Dredro back, you already see Vestola back. Gladiators are going to be careful to not stagger even harder. They want to really get control of this high ground. They have the Blade, they have the EMP. They're probably going to come in with the EMP, try and get high value out of that. We actually, Onigod switch off of... What was Onigod on before? He's going to switch off from the McCree and go to the Tracer. I think he would be better off on the Torb. But that's just a personal preference. I don't hate the Tracer because you should be pretty free to move around the map. So here comes the EMP from Birdring. It's not great. It hits Dan, it hits Khan, but neither one of those are really prime targets. Vessel does a great job of not getting hit by that. Like, look at where he positions himself away from everyone else, recognizes that this EMP is going to come down, fluxes as soon as it does, because as soon as the EMP, they're going to converge, right? So Gladiators converge, Vestola uses the flux, everyone's up in the air. Skewed uses the rally to try and keep it. Oh, actually, no, that was Dredro. Really drops them down, and that's just a great play by Vestola, and really good heads-up play by the Paris Eternal as well. Space is gonna drop the bomb in here to try and win. Scooter's gonna drop the rally. Wow, they are committing a lot to try and win this fight. So they have the blade. Literally all they have is the blade. Naga has the copy. I want to see Paris go. They need to up the tempo. They cannot. I don't think they can be the second team to attack here. I would love to see them just drop the bongo and Naga go in and just copy the diva right now. Because I think if they give Kevsa the ability to come back and get value out of this blade, that's their lost condition, right? Onigod gets a great pick on a skewed. The bongo goes down. Gets isolated, but I think that did pretty much what they needed it to do. Muse gets caught. Okay. Well played by Onigod. He was the one who upped the tempo there. And they made it so that Kevsa couldn't get the blade. So now the Gladiators still playing around the nano blade. And here's the question, right? Kevsa hasn't used the blade, right? Where that was 3 minutes. Yeah, almost 3 minutes into the round at this point. And Kevsa still hasn't used the blade. And it's like, could they be getting more if Kevsa just played Tracer, right? What's wrong with just playing Tracer Sombra? And just having more general effectiveness and having a more effective dive. Onigod Pov? You want to see Onigod Pov here? Oh, great catch. What was... I don't even know how Space caught that. Dude, I swear Space just never has Matrix, but somehow still manages to eat everything. Wait. I think I didn't go far back enough. I think I went forward, actually. I'm doing the London shot game after this one. Alright, pretty easy because he had the Matrix. Okay, wait. So he gets the flux. It's pretty good flux, and he gets out of there. Let's see what Kevsa does with this. Sorry, I'm trying to like we're playing tiny Overwatch. I'm trying to work out. He gets the nano. He gets hit by the flux. Oh, that's not great. I didn't realize he got hit by that as well. Still manages to get Dredro just because Nano Blade is just so goddamn good, but goes down anyway to Vestola. Just can't win these. Oh, close. This is a pretty good fight for Paris though, and that's important to note. I just think here's what Paris. I think Paris has got to be careful about. They don't want to stagger here. They want to, if they can disengage from this, and then get respawns faster. They're in such a good spot. That was Nanoblade out from the Gladiators, and we actually see Kevs to switch over to the Tracer as I was saying right now. So they're gonna come up with a lot of ultimates. Oh, Space kind of feeds trying to push down there. These trades aren't good for the Gladiators. This is way better for the Paris Eternal right now. Shu is playing with fire right now. Holy cow, he is out of position. Drops his nade. And just kills Khan. Well, can't argue with the results. If you're gonna fucking kill the other flex support, then you do what you do, man. They drop the EMP, and that should be the end of this fight. The flex support assassin. Can't complain. Oh god, Taco Fett. Come on, what are we doing here? No more Khan puns. Oh. Onigod gets the pulse onto Shu. Big plays. So they're gonna engage with the rally. We got a mirror rallies, rally v rally. If they can keep Khan alive here, they're in a good spot. Oh, Khan dies. It's still pretty even, 5v5, no flex supports. Dana gets stuck, but that's on an Orisa. That shouldn't do too much work. Naga goes down to Space though. Skew goes down. Space feels like he's doing so much work in this game. Feels like Space is getting a lot of the important picks. He's just everywhere. You guys... you guys remember the guy who said Space was the problem with the Gladiators? And that OGE was the reason that that OG was the only person keeping the gladiators in it. Good times. Said space was not an hour level off tank. All right, so they get the cap. That's a pretty brutal stagger onto space. This should just be the second point. Maybe they'll nano Winston out, but I feel like this is gonna be pretty hard. I don't think Paris did a very good job of. I feel like Vestola should have been the one holding this door. He shouldn't have been the person holding this door down. By him going over there, I feel like Muse has gotten out of here for free. That he should be able to get nanoed for almost free here, right? And get out of the door. Dredro has another rally. Scoot's only at 44% to his rally, where Dredro has another one. So Dredro has done a phenomenal job of charging up another rally. Khan, that was not a good exo boots. Ends up in the air, just get... And then, this is what is wrong with using the exo boots as well. A lot of people are like, oh, you can just jump over a lot of things. You gotta be really careful when you do that because of the things like this, right? He gets caught in the air against the Winston, and then he gets... Same thing with space, right? You can get very easily caught in the air, and just makes you such an easy target. Great eat by Naga on the Diva. I do find it interesting that both Dan and Dredro seem to defy their EU role stereotypes by being weakest at Ryan and Lucio compared to their other heroes. That is an interesting thought, actually. Like, that is true. Usually EU sticks to that mold of, like, they play Reinhardt and Lucio really well. But yeah, I agree with that. Dredro's Lucio's been quite good, though, as well. And same with Dan's Reinhardt. They're serviceable. Ooh, clean little counter bomb by Vestola. Vestola's done a really good job of not getting hit by these EMPs. I wonder if this is completely tracked and ready, because he might have just been out of position because he didn't realize they were getting flanked. But this is the second time that a birdering EMP is going to get countered by a Diva bomb, and it gets 2 kills, and that's so good for them, right? We always talk about the win conditions of the Gladiators with their EMP. Like, birdering is getting no value on this Sombra. Like, let's be realistic. I haven't seen a single high value hack. Maybe I'm not paying enough attention. I haven't seen a good EMP that's really won them a team fight. We have Custa going back onto the Genji as well, so. How'd Skew die? I'm not sure. Oh, they've caught Vestola in this room. Oh, Vestola's where is the rest of his team? Team! Vestola is literally just fucking playing like he's still alive. Oh god, Dredro gets birdering? How does birdering die to this? Oh, flashback. He just got absolutely murdered by the Kree Brig. Bongo goes down by Dan. Maybe a little too aggressive, gets punished instantly.
Wobble, wobble, motherfucker.
They need to win this fight before they get Nano Blade. If Kevster gets this blade, it's going to be a problem. Skew gets the rally out. And the Diva Bomb, this is going to slow them the whole thing down. Great rally by Dredro again. He's literally lapped Skewed on this rally. Everyone talks so much about how good Skew's Brig is. And it is very, very good. But Dredro's really taking it. He's doing so much work on this Brig right now. Vestola finally gets punished. Alright, but here comes the Nano Blade. As I said, if they get to the Nano Blade, it's going to be a problem. Players like Kevstar aren't going to fuck this up. Gets 2 kills. Unfortunately, doesn't get the one on the Brig at the end, but it doesn't need to get it at that point. Dredro above? Brig's not that interesting. You can see his ult charge, but he's probably just doing a good job. So I really like looking at the overhead, really getting a great idea of like how everyone's doing. That's a good trade for Kevstar. You'll definitely trade the Brig for the Genji there at the last second. Dredro, the Drebro. Drebro. Jazzy, thank you very much for Prime Sub. Welcome to the fam. Alright, Pulse Bomb goes down. Goes a little wide. And that's going to be a hold for the LA Gladiators. That's the value of playing that Genji, right? Is that you do have that really big win condition. Paris Eternal really needed to close that fight out before they got the Nano Blade. Paris needed to clean it out, but unfortunately just couldn't get the kills.
Initiating match. Initiating match.
People are calling Kessler a bot for taking Dreidra there. No, you 100% take that trade. And when you're going into overtime and you have the better spawn, you almost certainly do that, especially against a slow target like a Brig.
Ready for back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, let's see what goes on here. So we've got the Paris Eternal defending now.
Stop the pain.
They're playing the Brig, they're playing the Mei. I really don't like this Mei pick. I don't really understand the Ryan pick either. Like, you have to know and understand at this point that Gladiators are going to come out on this. I don't really understand why the Mei Ryan works better against this Genji here. You need to expect that Gladiators are going to play this Genji, they're going to play the Winston. I even Vestola, like, staying on the Sig maybe would have been better. I don't really understand these hero switches by Paris, but I assume they're doing this for a reason, right? Like, they've obviously scrimmed this. They probably play Mei, Torb, Ryan at the start of every time they play this Route 66. I just don't know if this is catered very well to the against the Gladiators.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Beaky with the 59 months. Can you let me out of the basement now, please? I'm cold and dark down here. No, you have to stay there. Oh, Naga goes down. You're stuck in the basement forever, Beaky. How does the Solar go down? Oh, great hack on Adan. It's like one of the first big impactful hacks I think we've seen on Adan. Removes a lot of their survivability there because they don't have the shield. Can't keep Naga alive. Birdring goes down to Onigod, which is a great kill. Oh wow, they're actually going to stabilize here. Yeah, like I don't really understand what the Mei really helps for here. Like I think it's going to be really hard to get high value walls against the Gladiators. Is it just me or does Shu get hard focused and no one is there to help him? I don't know. I haven't really noticed that a whole lot. Shu does put himself in very precarious situations from time to time. I have noticed that. So yes, maybe he can get help more, but I also think Shu needs to be careful about his positioning at times. Why is Genji good here? Well, that's the question, right? Is Genji good here? Would they be better off playing a Tracer or something else? I don't think Genji's awful here. I just don't know if it's the most consistent hero that you can play. Like, I actually don't mind it on the first point because I think you are going to get your Nano Blades. Like, this is why you play the Genji, right? Like, he gets the Nano Blade, he kills the support, forces a ton of turn. And he, like, Kevster is getting value, right? Like, the Genji isn't the worst thing, and I think Tracer can struggle. I just think that sometimes they stay on it a little bit too much, and they rely on it a little bit too much. Like, I think, yeah, like, would he be better off just playing an Echo? Like, would they be better off playing Echo Sombra? Probably, right? Like, if you don't want to play Tracer against Torb, Mei, Brig, Ana, which is completely fair. That, like, you literally get... Tracer doesn't really get any value against any of the Paris Eternal heroes, but Echo is just more consistent, right? And the ultimate, I think, is more consistent. You got the copy, you can play that Echo Sombra. Yeah, right? Like... But they seem confident in the Genji, and honestly, the Genji hasn't been awful, right? Like, he's only really had a couple of bad blades. It wasn't that great on their first point defense. Like, he never really got a blade out, so it has cost him a couple of times, but... That's a really good EMP by Birdring. 6-man EMP. It is into a rally though, and that is the silver lining here. So it is a great EMP, but it's because they have rally going, so it's not going to be as clean of a finish as you would hope. Oh god, Khan just got absolutely bullied. Well, I don't agree with. What was this mail by Naga? I think he thought they were on him. Yeah, that's not a great mail. How did Shu die to a Brig? Let's have a look at this. I assume he probably got overrun. And I think this might be one of those examples of, like, why is Shu here, right? Like, theoretically, Shu should always be over here, right? Like, over here, playing further back, over here, under the gas. And, like, Shu's put himself at the forefront, right? So when he jumps off, all of a sudden he doesn't really have anywhere to disengage to. He got himself caught in the room. And he just sort of gets caught out. He does die to, like, I think that might have been a Torb headshot just directly before that swing, so. You think Paris is better? Yeah, Paris has definitely performed way better than we thought, right? Like, coming into this season. We always knew Paris had the potential to be good because they have a lot of talent, but, you know, I didn't expect them to really be getting wins over Gladiators and that kind of stuff. They're very, very convincingly middle of the pack right now as a team, and I don't think anyone expected them to be this good. I think I expected them to be more of like a, you know, with 10 games in, like a 3-7, a 2-8 team. But they're 5-5, and they proved us all wrong. And then we said that coming into this season, especially like mainly the London people were like, hey, you want to, like, they're like, oh, we're better than everyone thinks we are. It's like, you want to be better than everyone thinks you are? Just prove it. And the Paris Eternal have, the London Spitfire haven't. And that's, you know, the two sides of the coin. Paris Eternal proved that they're better than everyone thought they are. All the props to them. All their players have been popping off, and that bodes really well for these guys moving forward. J-Wads, thank you for the Prime Gaming sub. Alright, so here we go. They're playing the Mei Ryan still. And once again, I still don't really like the Mei Ryan. They're holding aggressive. Dridro's moved over to Lucio, I assume because they're playing Ryan. I wonder if the reason they're playing the Mei Ryan is actually for this second point hold. For this point right here, I wonder if this is why they're playing the Mei Ryan. Because this is a very hard point to take against the Mei Ryan in the open. But I can't see it really being super effective anywhere else. Alright, and Paris lost it, right? Like, Paris didn't get the value out of the thing. So how are they going to get value out of it now, right? So now they don't really have a whole lot of ultimates. They have Nano. Who are they going to Nano? The Rhine. They're stuck with a Mei Torb against a Nano. Yeah, I think they're just fucked, if I'm being honest. I don't think Paris ever wins this fight. They're about to just get nano-bladed into oblivion. Smart by Gladiators. They didn't force it. They're not going too early.
Wobble, wobble, motherfucker.
Oh, Kevster fucked that up. His dash was bad. He gets the Torb. Oh. It wasn't great, but they had Rally, Nano Blade, and EMP. So it doesn't matter how badly they use their ultimates. They win the fight anyway. The Mysticalist, thank you very much for Prime Gaming sub. Who'd win between Atlanta or Paris? We'll just have to find out. I'm sure they'll play at some point. Alright, so here's the beginning of where I get really upset with the way they're playing. Is if you're the Gladiators, you have 3.5 minutes to get through here, right? And I think their comp, it's fine for right now. I think their risk is going to be a really big problem. Naga's just kind of pounding on this Kree right now. Well, let's watch it through, right? So obviously they just use their 4 ultimates to cap that second point. So they don't have any ultimates. So they're just, so this is kind of like a dry fight. They're never really going to win in the neutral because they have a Sombra Genji. So they're just trying to get ultimates up and they're just sort of staggering a little bit here. Paris have gone back over to the Arista to give Dan can play that very solid front line. I think I would like to see Dridro go back to the Brig, but I kind of want to see how they utilize this Lucio. Something I think that, I wonder if this is something that Paris learnt in this map, but I think the biggest thing about the Onigod Tracer that makes it so good is Gladiators don't really have anyone who wants to be able to deal with the Tracer. With the Genji Sombra, they don't want to really look at a Tracer. And he's creating such a big issue and allowing him to play so aggressive and give everyone a lot more space. So that's a good beat engaged by Dridro. Is he going back? Yeah, he's going over to switch to the Brig as I thought he might. Uses the beat, goes aggressive, and then switches over to the Brig. The Brig's just too good in this, against this composition for the Gladiators. If he can get a rally for the birdering EMPs, then they're in a good spot. So here we got the Nano Blade coming here. Nano Blade. Let's see what Custa does with this. Deflex asleep. You're dead. You're also dead. So they win with the Nano Blade, right? Great play by Custa on the Nano Blade. But that's two of their big ultimates. They also use Primal during that. So now they're heavily reliant on their EMP and their rally to close this one out, which potentially has, you know, they have the ability to. They could close it out in this fight. It's pretty even, I would say, on a matchup. The biggest issue is that they're going to lack damage, right? They don't have damage. They have survivability with the Diva Bomb, where Space can play aggressive and then use the bomb aggressively and remech, and Skewed has the rally. But are they going to be able to close this fight out against Vistola, who has a Diva Bomb as well? Dan has a Bongo. It's a very early rally from Skewed. I don't know if I like that rally. They're trying to go aggressive. How does Onigod get Shu? Onigod just didn't get healed by Skew. Just too low. Onigod catches it, and this is a big problem, right? You're the Gladiators, you're in trouble. And so Birdring also doesn't get his EMP off, right? And here's what I don't like about this Gladiator strategy, right? It's like you have the EMP coming up. By using the rally, it doesn't really give Birdring a good opportunity to get the EMP, right? Like, I think they would have been way better off letting Paris walk forward, use an ultimate, and then using the EMP and the rally. By using the rally, I feel like you can see Birdring just doesn't really know what he wants to do here with his EMP. And then he doesn't even get it off before the fight's already over. So, yeah. So now they're stuck with this EMP. And here was where I was saying, I was like, would this be a good time? Like, I think this could have been a really good time for Muse to switch to Ryan and Skewed to switch to Lucio, right? And just run at them with the EMP. But I think what they're doing now gives Paris the opportunity to just sort of play it slow and start getting some of their ultimates up. They have to rely on such a big Birdring EMP. And he gets forced out with his EMP as well. That's awesome for Paris. Birdring just can't get anything done. And then Onigod coming up clutch again, getting a kill and a support. So now all of a sudden the Gladiator's like, well, we don't want to fight this. Our Brig's dead. So they're not going to want to EMP. Shu gets Naga though. This might bait Birdring into using this EMP. And they really don't want to use it. How did I know he was going to do that as soon as they got that kill into Naga? As soon as they got that kill into Naga, I knew they were going to force it. Fuck. And that's just a force, right? Like, Gladiators weren't in a good spot. As much as they got the kill on Naga, they were still at a massive disadvantage. Birdring goes in, uses the EMP, doesn't do enough, Muse goes down. And now they're in a lot of trouble. Not only because they don't have the EMP again, but they're getting staggered. Paris are going to have a lot of ultimates coming up. They're going to have the rally, they got the high noon, nano up soon. Now Muse switches to Xayah, which you have to believe is just so he can bubble the Genji, but I feel like that sort of spreads you way too thin. If you're the Eternal, you just need to spread out. I think I would much prefer to see Muse come out on a Reinhardt, right? Come out on a Reinhardt, come out on a Wrecking Ball, just be distraction for Kevster, because now all the Paris Eternal have to deal with is the Kevster Genji, right? High noon to slow this down. It's gonna get space. Space should die for this. Alright, Kevster Genji Blade. And that's great play by Paris. Go before the Nano Blade gets enough effectiveness. Can't get anything out of the Blade. The fight's already over. They had zero space, and that is why, as much as the Xayah seems good to bubble the Genji, they would have been way better off having a Wrecking Ball that would have just rolled into the backline and been an absolute menace, right? Giving your Genji a bubble doesn't matter if you have no space in the game. Now they have one space. You guys.
5, 4, 3.
Alright, let's go. Now we go over to Anubis. And I think this is really where Paris looked their best.
Defend objective A.
I hate Mira being subbed into this. So here's my problem with this, is I don't think Kevster should ever be benched, and it doesn't feel like Gladiators learnt anything from that last map. They lose that last map and they're like, hey, we should double down on the Genji Sombra, and I just don't like it. And it's gonna really become more highlighted in this map than it was the last one. Because Paris actually showing their versatility once again. They're actually gonna play the Winston Brig Anacomp, and I think it's really smart here, because as much as I don't think this composition is great for the first point, you're gonna see how well they utilize it on the second point. Blame of Vast for this loss? I don't think you should. Right now it shouldn't be don't stop Birdering out. Like, Birdering is a great hit scan and a tracer. I don't think Birdering Sombra is it. Like, I think Birdering Sombra is definitely replaceable, and it feels like Gladiators really believe in the Sombra and the Genji just as like heroes and their kits to be really good, but I haven't seen that effectiveness, and we haven't seen that from anyone else. Is anyone else really playing much Sombra or Genji? Maybe in the East, they're playing a little bit of Sombra, but that's because everyone's playing Wrecking Ball. I wonder if it is because we haven't, like, this is a meta that we just haven't seen that much, because we haven't seen a lot of the top teams play. Like, we haven't seen Dallas, we haven't seen Washington, we haven't seen Atlanta, we haven't seen Houston Outlaws, right? We haven't seen a lot of these top teams. Maybe this is the meta at the top end. We just don't know. Maybe Dallas will, but Dallas played Sombra Echo, right? Like we see from the Gladiators here, and that was the previous meta, right? That was what we saw in the past. Maybe Gladiators are just being like, hey, here's what was played at the end of the main melee. We should just try and utilize that. But I also don't think Birdering is getting anywhere near as much value with this Sombra as, you know, we saw from, you know, Doha. So they get the good hacks, they get a good dive. This is kind of like head-to-head here in this first fight, and Gladiators get the edge. They get the picks, they get the damage. Why don't Gladiators just play Tracer? And here is a map where I think if I'm the Gladiators here and I see that Paris is going to mirror you, I think you take this mirror. I don't think you have good Birdering on this Sombra. I think you just put Birdering on the Tracer and just be like, fuck it, we'll take the mirror. Like, this is great for us. Bagel Chips, thank you for the fresh sub. Alright, so let's see how the Paris Eternal play this. And something that I really like about Paris and what they utilize is, you'll see it here, they don't give Gladiators an inch. And this is a really big mistake that a lot of weaker teams make, is they don't want to go in early because they're at old disadvantage or anything like that. They want to play really far back and passive, but if you give the offensive team that space, they're just going to be able to get onto the point for too easily. So it costs them a lot of space to just get in, right? They have to use the bubbles, they have to use the nano, and instead of counter diving, right, they go aggressive with their own. As much as Dawn dies, they get the kill into Birdering, and this is so important to get these kills, because all you need to do on 2CP, and what makes it such a shit game mode for the second point, is all you have to do is trade. And the Paris Eternal recognize this, right? They don't care if they lose their backline, as long as they trade in some other capacity, right? And that's what they do here. They trade the front line. Dan goes in, literally ints his brains out, but that gives Naga the window to go in and get the trade. And once they get that, Gladiators are done. Vistola throws the bomb in, and that's a win. And now it only gets more and more aggressive, right? Because Paris Eternal were at a pretty drastic ult disadvantage going into that fight. They now have their ults, right? They have the nano. They can go aggressive. How does Birdering get an EMP here, right? Like, look at what Birdering's looking at here. How does he get an effective EMP? So there's the Ana. Okay, but the D.Va's over here, the Winston's over here. He's going to want to use the EMP, like, somewhere around here, right? Try and catch as many people as he can. But there's so many fucking pillars that it makes it really hard. So he gets an individual hack onto Vistola. They rally, and they EMP just the front line, right? So let's keep that in mind. And Dan is nanoed. And also doesn't get hit by the EMP. Where's Dan? Oh no, he is hacked. I'm like, how does he not get hacked? He is hacked. You just don't see it because he's nanoed. Right? And so the EMP and their primary target is the nanoed target on Dan. They get no value. They just echo copy, EMP, rally, and then forces their primal, and that Paris traded with the nano and a copy of their own. And then they go aggressive into the backline. Onigod Pulse Bomb is getting a ton of value. Mira actually copies the Tracer, which it was okay. He actually gets a pretty good amount of value. Oh god, that was pretty bad by Naga. Oh god, Naga. Oh god. I'm sorry, Naga. We have to watch this back. Okay, he murders him when he gets back onto the Echo. His Echo mechanics, clean. Winston mechanics, could use a little bit of tweaking. It's fine, he gets the kill and that's all that matters. They get that trade. And now, look at Gladiators' ultimates, right? And I really want to see them move off this Sombra. I just don't like the effectiveness of the Sombra, and I don't know what they're really getting from it. Khan gets Mira? How does Khan get Mira? Oh, he catches his back wing but gets the kill. That's another 10 seconds right there. Oh, Paris are gonna go further. They're gonna take even more from this. Look at how aggressive Paris is playing, and this is what all the best teams do. Play aggressive. Force the Gladiators to use ultimates, to use abilities to get towards the point. This is gonna make it way harder for Birdering to do anything. Who's better at Echo, Mira, or Kev? I actually have no idea. It seems like from the way Gladiators are playing it, they want to put Mira on this Echo. But maybe he's in here to play the Doomfist? Like he's a second point Doomfist kind of thing? Onigod playing aggressive again. Gets caught, which wasn't great. But he dies so far away, it's not going to be the worst thing. I assume Paris is going to use an ultimate to sort of stem this bleeding right here. I think they're going to go... I want to see them go aggressive with the Nano on Dan right here. There it is. The Nano onto Dan. Nano onto Mira. Ugh, I don't really like that. I would much prefer to see a Nano onto the Winston. Give Muse... When was the last time we saw them Nano Muse? Has he been nanoed at all this series? Eichenwalde, but they were using it for Nano Blade primarily, right? Yeah, and then they do nano Mirror a lot. Interesting. I don't know if he did get nanoed on Microbot. I just can't remember it. But they do nano the Echo, and he doesn't get anything from it, right? Wait, what just happened? Oh yeah, I went back too far. So they nano Mirror here. Yeah, I feel like the Echo can absolutely murder people. Don't get me wrong, right? But I feel like too many situations happen like this where the nano Echo just didn't really give them anything. Muse goes down. Onigod gets another pick. Onigod has honestly been sick this series. He's been getting so many important picks on this Tracer. And it just makes me want Birdering to go Tracer even more. He gets Nano because he gets Loy, and I think Shu does that a lot. I think Shu nanos a lot of people in like, oh shit, they're getting low, I need to nano. But I feel like, yeah, keeping someone alive is great, but it doesn't give them the effectiveness, right? That's not going to help them cap the point. It kind of feels like desperation more than anything. Is Khan seriously going to kill another person walking out? Why are these guys walking out? Like, what is Shu doing here? Like, why is... Like, you know that the Paris Eternal are playing aggressive. Like, it kind of feels like the Gladiators are boomed a little here. Like, he just walks into the open and starts taking some shots. Okay. Glad seem very boomable. They seem boomed here. Boomy Yada. Alright, let's get out of here. Alright, so what do they have? They can nano... Please nano the Winston in. They have EMP nano Winston, okay? Here's what I would like to see them do. If I was talking up the strategy, I want to see them nano the Winston in, right? Nano the Winston in, everyone follow up, counter dive the aggression that is going to come, and then EMP the aggression that is going to come from the Paris Eternal. Because they're going to mirror this, right? Like, Dawn's going to go aggressive. He has the primal, right? But they're going to engage. Okay. They're going to engage with the EMP, which hits Dawn, right? But here's the disconnect. They nano Muse, and he can't do anything with it. They don't do the same thing. They did different things. They nanoed the Winston into the backline and just hoping he can deal with a nano brig, and then they EMP'd the front line. So they didn't get enough effectiveness in the front line because they didn't have the damage and they didn't have the cleave from the nano or anything like that, or the Winston. So they get done, but that doesn't help them in any way. So that they, like, look at how aggressive. Like, look at how aggressive the Paris Eternal goes, right? Like, when they EMP, they went here. Imagine if you could have, like, your Nano Winston just, like, zip-zapping these guys, right? There's such a big disconnect from the backline and the front line that the backline's not even really going to help. If they had Nano Muse, he would have zip-zapped around here for a little bit, tried to isolate one of the DPS, and then wait for the backline to walk forward. Because Drijo and Khan are going to have to walk forward at some point, and then you can go with the Nano Winston and stuff like that. Just, you see that disconnect that I feel like, just like, that's why Paris Eternal are just capitalizing time and time again, is they can't keep their backline alive because they don't have enough pressure being applied anywhere. And Muse just gets slept and dies. EMP didn't even hit a DPS. Yeah, he only really hit the Winston. And I feel like they're trying to use the Sombra to force a fight when they should be using an EMP to, like, especially with how aggressive the Paris Eternal are playing, I would love to see them use the EMP as a counter dive tool instead of an engagement tool, right? Because the engagement is not really working very well for them because Paris is splitting up pretty effectively. Wait for the Paris Eternal to converge on you, walk forward, and then use the EMP as a counter. Or just please stop playing Sombra. Like, it really does not seem like Birdering is getting any effectiveness out of this Sombra. I don't think Birdering's playing awfully. I just don't think the Sombra's working for them. And this sort of goes back to what I was talking about with the Gladiators' stubbornness and willingness to adapt in the middle of this match. Like, they just lost Route 66 because they couldn't get value out of EMPs. They're doing the exact same thing on the entirety of Anubis.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Let's spot the issue here, right? Let's spot the issue. These guys are running in to get into this left room. This is the call, right? You can tell this is the call. Lucio, Moira, Winston, Diva, they're all coming in here. They're trying to get into this room. Mirror is duplicating on the complete other side.
Diva.
So all of a sudden the Gladiators like, shit, we gotta go. So they're just like diving. They actually might get value out of this Winston dive. They're just all over the place. Look at the Gladiators. Birdering's over here playing Sombra. Like, and this sort of goes back to what I was saying about Muse, is like, I don't think Muse is awful, it just feels like they have no idea what they're doing. They're just on a completely different wavelength. And this is where you think that they're getting boomed, right? They're not listening to each other, they're not playing really well like we saw from them in their match against the Shock. Who's shot calling? I have no idea. Probably Moth. And this might come back to the issue that you have when you're switching players around constantly, right? When you're switching your main support out, Moth for Skewed, I'm sure Moth and Skewed communicate completely differently, right? Skewed, I don't actually know how good his English is. I assume not great because he has never really been on a Western team and this is his first Western team. And then Moth comes in, he's a very communicating guy. And then you have Mirror and Kevster also coming in, like, just switching in and out all the time. So, Space, yeah, Space is definitely calling a lot. So now they're going in here again. They actually kind of whiffed everything, Paris. So they go in with the Rally Nano, just playing aggressive because they know that, oh wow, that is really bad that they gave up a tick. How do they give up a tick here? They're gonna win the fight anyway, but yeah, that was kind of bad by Paris.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Oh, thank you. Yo, Chad, I got Boba. This is why Sab is the GOAT. Boba, baby.
0 to 1. Switching sides.
All right.
Initiating match.
Foxes are the bestest. Thank you very much for the 3-month subs. Shout out to Win King. Yo, what's up, Win King? I hope it's all going well. Alright. So, here we go. Gladiators are going to play the Sombra Doom on defense. And this is really why we expected Mirror to be in the lineup. He's going to play the Doomfist on the defense. Doomfist on second point defense is very, very strong. Just because it's very, like, all in. Still, once again, don't agree with the Sombra. Like, what does Sombra give them? Like, if they're in the mirror, just play Tracer. Like, I think Tracer is so much better. Like, on attack, you can make your justifications, right? Of, like, you need that big team fight winning ultimate to cap the point. On defense, I don't agree with that. I think the constant pressure that a Tracer puts out is just way, way more valuable.
I'm out of here.
Yeah, Mirror's not playing Doom here. The only reason Mirror's playing Doom is so that he can be fine on this first point, but it's not ideal, right? He's playing Doom so that it'll exist for the second point. 100%. He gets actually murdered. Like, just straight up gets murdered. Oh, he gets stuck by Naga. Great play. They knew he was there. Like, that was, like, pretty obvious that he was going to be there. Just, that's the first point cap right there. Wow, Space didn't get Dredro. Dredro was, like, negative health. Hoping you'll help me understand what happened. I honestly think a lot of their issues are coming from the Sombra. And then Mirror goes Reaper. This is the second time that Mirror has been in under the pretense or the guise that we expect him to play Doomfist. Both times, he has been the first person to die on the original engage. It happened on Eichenwalde, it happened on Anubis now. And then he just switches. Like, if this is what they're gonna do, like, no offense to Mirror, I think he's a great player, but I just play Kevster. Prefer the swap? I disagree. I think the Doomfist is so good against this comp from the Paris Eternal. Maybe against Tracer Echo, he doesn't want to play the Doomfist and like the composition that Paris is playing, but like I still think the Doomfist you can make it work. Like I think you can easily make it work. There's just so many walls. So the Gladiators are going aggressive to try and like essentially do what Paris Eternal were doing, right? But hey, guess what? There's this Tracer hero that's really good that is applying point pressure and putting in a lot of work. Their dive gets absolutely fucked. Muse goes down. Space gets slept. Birdring's still playing Sombra, so it's legitimately useless. And Mirror's on a Reaper. That all they have to do is counter dive. Oh, good kill on onto Dan. Oh, he gets Naga as well. Yo, Mirror Reaper actually coming in clutch. But they nano Vestola. Birdring goes down. The rally's out from Dredro. How do they get any kills? Nano Muse. Pistola gets Shu as well. EMP comes out from Birdring. The moment we've all been hoping for.
Adaptive circuits engaged. Winston.
The beacon misses Birdring. Dude, this is just... Oh. This is legitimately everything is going wrong. Alright, Birdring goes to the Doomfist. Oh no. She gets Naga. Oh wow, good live by Dan. Oh, Dredro gets murdered. Birdring's doing Doomfist things. Pistola goes down. Oh, they're gonna hold, aren't they? I hate that. I hate that. Right, but they're playing Reaper Doom now, so they have to play aggressive, right? The problem with Gladiators comp right now is they don't have survivability. Yeah, they don't have survivability. They don't have any defensive ultimates. They're gonna have to go and hope they get value. Oh. I forgot this happened. I forgot this happened. Oh, why does he go Ash?
Wobble, motherfucker.
What does Ash give you? Like, we talked about it. Every good team knows you need to play aggressive. They're playing a Reaper. They're playing a Winston. They need to go. They need to play aggressive. That is the opposite of what Ash is going to do. Birdring is going to sit back and try and shoot. You can tell he doesn't know what he wants to play. Does Birdring know Tracer's in the hero pool again? I'm starting to wonder if he doesn't realize that Tracer's still in the hero. He can play Tracer. Like, look at how much space they have to give up. Look at this shit. Paris is just walking in. If we go back and like flip the script, Paris is already balls deep at this point. Well, Gladiators. So now Mira has to go aggressive as a Reaper, but he's doing it alone. Muse can't help him. He goes aggressive. And he gets slept, and he is dead. Okay. And let's look at what... Bruh! Why not just play Tracer? Just play Tracer. Like, that was a great play if he was a Tracer. But they just have no space. Their comp is counterintuitive to each other. Like, the Sombra is useless. That actually annoyed me. I'm getting Jimmy upset. Jimmy levels of upset looking at this.
Wobble, wobble, motherfucker.
Sapphire Fire, thank you very much for the 3 months. Clearly, Birdring has ascended to Jimmy level flanks. You wouldn't understand. Ah, fuck me. Scared of Brig? Legitimately, Onigod just destroyed the Gladiators playing a Tracer against a Brig. Brig isn't the hardest counter to a Tracer. Brig's not bad against Tracer, but Tracer is still pretty good against Brig. Especially, like, I think where Tracer really falls apart is if they're playing, like, these, like, McCree, Orisa compositions and stuff like that, where they're slow and you can't get space, but you would have so much space as a Tracer, just moving around the map. Alright, it's fine. We're going on to Nepal. We're gonna brawl versus brawl. So, Symmetra May versus Symmetra May. We're gonna be in mirrors. Is Pistola really not gonna play Sig? Sig is very good on this map.
Capture the objective.
I'm very surprised that Vistola's playing Brig. Almost everyone plays Sig these days for these, because you can control the point way easier. But okay. So Gladiators are playing in a style with the Hanzo and the Sig in like playing more of like an off-angling style. So they want to kind of like brawl over here, but play Hanzo Sig over here to sort of like hit him from 2 angles. I think the problem that exists is if Paris is smart, they're not just going to stand there, right? They're going to run at you. They're going to realize that you have a way weaker fight, right? So they're going to TP behind. Yeah, I don't really like the Hanzo. Oh, shoot, just kills Onigod. Alright. So Paris get the first cap. Holding the positioning. Account of the week. Thank you very much for the 39-month resub. Much love, account of the week. That's all, man. Alright. So Gladiators are still playing this Hanzo. So now they're going to have the issue because Eternal, if they're smart, and they are very smart. I actually have a, you know, Dan's enormous brain. And they just seem to understand how they want to play in the metas and that kind of stuff. Like, I'll be honest. I don't think Eternal has the best mechanical players in the league, right? They're all actually really solid, and I think they've done a great job, especially with the pickup of Dredro and Vestola. Like Khan and like Han's incredible. Onigod and Naga are both a really good duo. Dan's good, but I think really where their strength is, I feel like they always just get it. I feel like there's been very few times in which I'm like, Paris, what the fuck are you doing? I feel like they're just like a smart team, and they know how to play to their strengths. They know what they're good at. They know what they're not good at. And I feel like they play around that so well, which is important when you look at a team like the Gladiators, who I think on paper have incredible... Yo, Patrick, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Let's get some poggers and some Custa hearts up in chat. Patrick, thank you for the 10. Scam train in full effect. But I think Gladiators, mechanically, they have phenomenal players. They have incredible players. But I just don't think they're utilizing them well. I feel like they're a little all over the place, and they're not being put to their best potential, and they're not playing the strats that is good for them, right? But yeah, Patrick, thank you very much for the 10 gifted subs. I wanted to finish my point. As always, Patrick with the gifted subs. Much love. So they're going aggressive, right? And like, if you're taking this fight, right, you would always want the Symmetra over the Hanzo in this situation, right? So they're playing Brawl. They're playing Brawl. The Gladiators are playing Brawl, but they're playing with a Hanzo. So, and they're playing with a Sig, so they're not getting value out of the actual Brawl. Holy shit, give it account of the week with the 7 gifted subs as well. Yo, account of the week, thank you for the 7 gifted subs as well. Let's get some more Custa hearts and poggers and all those good emotes up in chat. Much love. Sub war. Subs. Thank you very much for the gifted subs, guys. Much love. Alright, so now we have the Gladiators coming out hard. So they're gonna engage with the Flux from space. Where is space? Oh, he's just in orbit. Just Peep, thank you for the 10 months as well, poggers. Oh, so they use the Flux, they use the Dragon. Phenomenal job, honestly, by Gladiators. That's a really good engagement, getting value out of both those ultimates. The beat by Dredro is quite good, but it's probably not going to be enough. Naga throws out the Mail, which kind of feels like a waste at this point. Just dies. But Salavian, oh my god, with another 8 gifted subs as well. Holy shit, all the gifted subs. Thank you very much for the gifted subs, Salavian, as well. Keep the pog champs and the poggers and all that good stuff. We're fucking flying through this scam train. I hope you love this sound because you're about to hear a lot more of it. Oh, baby. The Mayo by Naga was actually so clutch. This is up there with one of the greatest feelings that you can have in Overwatch. He even gets shattered by Muse. But Vistola comes in clutch, gets the end, and they keep the point. If you were the Gladiators, and you weren't boomed before this, you are boomed now. You are absolutely boomed. There's no coming back from this.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
I think the shatter was good, but he needed to hit, like, how does Muse, with this shatter, miss the D.Va, right? That should have hit the D.Va. Would that have knocked the D.Va down if he had hit her? I feel like that should have hit the D.Va. If he hit the D.Va, he probably would have been fine because he would have insta-killed Onigod and then might have been able to stagger against Vistola. Remake maybe? Yeah, maybe the iframes of the remake probably stopped him from being stunned.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
So now we see Birdring going to Doomfist for the round 2, fuck it. YOLO, just fucking play Doomfist. Like, why didn't he play Doomfist to begin with, right? Like, I don't know. Birdring feels like he's actually playing Mystery Heroes right now. He doesn't know what he wants to play. He wants to play everything but Tracer. Alright, so the wall comes down from Onigod. The beat, the mail. There, these are a lot of ults. Birdring gets booped off the map. Birdring's had a real shocker this game. He really has. I didn't realize it was this bad when I was watching it, but he's had a nightmare.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
Alright, Gladiators should get the cap here. Cost him a lot though. What was that? Mail, beat, D.Va bomb.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
You're allowed to do Doom Tech and out? Yeah, anything that exists in the game you can do.
Wobble wobble,
like the only thing you can never do is using something that isn't exist in the game and use it. The only time I've ever heard of something being banned,
wobble wobble, motherfucker.
I don't know if it still is banned, but you know, like Hanamura, where you could like hover between the roofs. It actually got used against us, and we actually complained. I don't know if anything happened. I think they got a warning, but I think Fisher used it against us for the Gladiators. On Hanamura, you could jump to a spot where you were like hanging between the roofs, and then you could just sit there waiting for your cooldowns and then go up of that. I don't know if you're allowed to do that anymore.
Wobble wobble, motherfucker.
That's the only thing in game that I think you're not allowed to do. Yeah, all those like stool spots where you can just sit somewhere, like I think that's the only thing you can't do. Why wouldn't you be allowed? Because it's unintentional, and I think that Blizzard can't fix it. I legitimately think it's an issue that Blizzard doesn't know how to fix without fucking with a lot of their map geometry. They should allow it? No. It's really bad for the game having that kind of stuff. Because what happened, like that point on Hanamura, you could hover there. You could literally go from your spawn, do that one jump and get in that soul spot, and then you could jump to the back of Hanamura. You shouldn't be able to jump to the back of, the back of the point A Hanamura. That it's literally impossible for supports to do it. You can't do anything against it. The monkey can jump from across the map to get onto you, right? I thought those spots now pop you out. I'm not exactly sure if there's been a fix or anything. I just remember it being a thing in 2019. Okay, so Gladiators playing with the Doomfist. Because they're playing with the Doomfist, they have to go. Okay, so Eternal flip on them and end up over here with the window. That is caught the Gladiators off guard like crazy. Khan gets caught by a fire strike from Muse. There, is this a one shot? Oh, brutal. Well played by Muse. They're still in a really good spot though. Yeah. That was a great flip by the Gladiators. Oh, great shatter. Dude, Muse single-handedly keeping them in this round. Wait, go back? What boot? I think space boops done up for the shatter. Oh, the punch shatter? Yeah, yeah. I'm curious to know how coordinated this was. I'm starting to think that was lucky. Either that or that was the most pristine, perfect timing of all time. Yeah, he's already pressing Q before the punch is even on the way, right? So. Donna's place was already down, yeah.
Time to raise my ATM.
Okay. Paris Eternal, they should be able to get a lot of space with this wall, right? Are they just gonna rush point and then drop the wall? Ooh, I like that. That Mayhold is sick by Naga. Oh, Birdering just gets murdered. Oh god, the boot by Space on Oni God.
Game on.
Dawn Pop? For what? For the shatter? I don't care about the shatter. Like, I don't. Like, it was... We can speculate all we want. The only way we would ever find out if it was coordinated is if we could hear the comms between Birdring and Muse. There's the only time we could ever work out if it's coordinated, because it could have been perfectly timed and it could have been perfectly coordinated. Or it could have just been Muse hit his shatter because Dawn was walking forward and he knew he was going to have to close the distance. Right? Like, we're never going to work it out from looking at anyone's pub. So there's no point in looking at it. But it doesn't really matter. The shatter happened. Like, I think Gladiators were probably going to win that fight anyway, so. Space was the most consistently good player in the lobby throughout this series. Yeah. Meh. I don't know. I feel like Onigod's had a really good game. Vestola, maybe you're talking about, like, if you include the first two maps. The first two maps were pretty Gladiator-sided, so I sort of see where you're coming from.
Capture the objective.
Like, yeah. I see where you're coming from, but yeah. It's kind of a hard one to speculate, right? Dreedro just gets murdered. How does Dreedro get murdered that fast? Oh, he just takes the fire strike and just gets shot by Shu. And that's the end of that fight. And here's the Dawn special. Dawn actually, like, he said it in the interview. He said it more to Danny in the pre-interview, but this is Dawn's call here. And this is a fucking great call, because there's not a lot of people that would want to make this call. You're in map 5, there's not a lot of players or teams that would be willing to make this call and be like, fuck it, go Farah, seeing what the Gladiators are playing. But this is a great heads up play. Just like believing in your team to be able to play it. And I think it's smart because I think everyone goes onto a lot of comfort heroes, right? Like, you got Naga on this Farah. He just goes absolutely sicko mode. Only gone onto that Tracy he's been carrying this whole time. And you can just see the Gladiators like, fuck. They didn't react effectively at all. I don't know how you can react, but yeah. Also, look at this though. filthy. Not enough though. Not enough though. So we got Birdring switching over to the McCree, which is the right call. I especially love this Pharah switch because that was the Valiant special, dude. I used to love making this call as well. Fucking me and agilities. The Mercy, the Pharah Mercy combo, dude. That was the Valiant special. If anything ever was not working for us, we're like, fuck it, go Pharah Mercy.
Taking off.
I think Kevster needs to get off this May. I actually would have liked to have seen Kevster get off this May. I don't like that Gladiators decided to stay with the with their comp. I would have liked to have seen them switch. Like, I think if they put... I think they need to switch something. Like, I think they're just walking into a trap here. The McCree's nice, but it's not going to be enough to deal with this composition by the Eternal. Like, the May's not really going to offer a whole lot, I don't think. That's a great bomb. Actually, look at this. Look at this sleep by Shu. Oh, not Shu, Khan. Could have played legs. There's a lot of different things. You can play Tracer, right? Like, Kevster can switch to the Tracer, right? Tracer is really good against this composition because you do run around essentially for free. Like, Kevster could have easily switched to Tracer and just tried to Tracer dip them, right? Mew switched to the Winston or the Bull. Kevster goes to Tracer. Fuck it, you can make that work in some capacity, right? Moth even switches to the Brig, maybe. Like, you can do it, like, but he sleeps. Here we see this sleep on the Muse from Khan. Gets the kill. And that's a great bomb by Vastola. Now's the time for Sombra. Yeah, and Birdring could go Sombra as well, right? Like, no means. Pure Symmetry. Thank you very much for the 4 months. Got on today to sub to Buster. Apparently, only Custa's live right now. Yeah, Buster's asleep. You guys see the Prestige? It's like the Prestige. I did that with Buster. You know, he went into the water tank because there can only be one. Okay, we don't have the technology to make two identical, you know, separate clones right now. Spoilers, by the way. If you don't know, then you don't know. And if you're getting upset about getting spoiled for a movie that's like 10 years old, then you're on your own. Which one of you is getting married? Oh no.
Helden sterben nicht. Nerf this.
Bomb doesn't get a whole lot of value. Kills Vastola though with the remake. Great. Dude, Space is legitimately just like, let's watch this from Space's perspective. Let's watch this fight. Okay? Doesn't catch the pulse bomb, which is kind of unfortunate. Kills Khan. Okay? Does a great job. Throws his bomb in the air. Getting the remake. Probably a little too high on the thing. Drops his mech. Kills the baby diva. Boops away the res. Alright, that nano onto Dan was actually so smart. I actually love that nano onto Dan because they know they just need to stall out this point, right? And stall out this fight. Oh, Khan gets to sleep. Vastola. Almost killed Dan, Khan. Wow. That's just... Paris fucking Eternal, man. And Naga pops. Naga's Pharah was just really solid. He's just putting out damage. We didn't spectate a lot, but he's just flying around getting a ton of work done. B comes in from Moth. Too late. GG! Didn't he get like 5 kills at the end? Yeah, he's just on cleanup mode right now. He's just fucking murdering everybody. Birdring did actually go over to the Sombra. They actually did make the transition that I said, but I just think they never got an ult cycle, right? I think that was the right comp to switch to, actually, the Lucio Moira. I think with the Sombra Tracer. It was a late barrier. Oh yeah, the barrier was way too late. And that's it. Sadiators. Sadiators. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. I think the Gladiators lost themselves though. And I've reaffirmed my belief coming into this series. I talked about at the start being like, I just don't think the Gladiators adapted well. They came in with a strategy, and when it stopped working, they didn't make adjustments, right? They stayed on the Genji too long, relying too much on Custa on that Genji. They, Birdering Sombra was almost ineffective the entire series, and then they forced it way too long on Route 66 and Temple of Anubis, and I don't know why Birdering never played the Tracer. Like, why did we never get to see Birdering on the Tracer? Is he not confident on it anymore? What is the reason behind that? But the last thing he should have done is switch these Doomfists, switch these Ashes. I don't know. Why is Mira in the lineup if he's not really playing the Doomfist? Kevster should always be playing. No offense to Mira, but Kevster, I think, is better at Tracer. Echo has that extra flexibility. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on there. But that's it for the Gladiators. Paris Eternal, I think they look great. I can't praise this team enough. I think they are playing really smart. They're playing around to their win conditions. And I think every team should be terrified to play against the Paris Eternal right now. I believe upcoming on Friday, I'm pretty sure Paris plays Shock. And that's going to be an interesting match because I think Paris can easily take it to the Shock because Shock look very wounded right now. And if Eternal can deal with the Gladiators dive, you better believe they're going to be able to deal with the San Francisco Shock dive. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll keep our eyes peeled. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this insightful. Let me know what VODs you want me to review or if there's anything you want to talk about. Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Love you all, and I'll see you next time.